All right, we're standing out here in Lower Haight in San Francisco. We're at the official San Francisco launch of Double Jack, which is Firestone Walker's new double IPA. I was a huge fan of Union Jack last year. In fact, I don't know if you heard Brewing Network, we did our top 5 beers of the year. Union Jack was number 1. I loved it.
Sweet.
Just a big fan. So this beer, though, it's the double version. You talked to me a little bit about how you brewed it, Matt, so tell me about it.
So, the story is that we took the same recipe, and rather than running 55 barrels off, as we normally do on our brew house for the Union Jack, we ran 35 barrels off. So it was the same malt bill. And essentially it was the same hopping bill as well. So Warrior for bittering, Chinook, Cascade, and Centennial as far as the flavor and aroma hops on the brew house side. We did 2 turns of the brew house, and earlier you asked me, you only ran 35 barrels off, and what did you do with the extra wort that you ran off?
Yeah.
Actually, that was kind of a cool little trick. So we collected that second runnings. It wasn't really anything we could make another beer out of, but we ran it back up to our mash mixer, and we mashed the second brew into it. So whereas maybe we got a 24 or 25 Plato first wort on the first batch through the brew house, using the second wort and saving that to mash in the second time around, we got maybe a 26 or a 28 Plato first wort off of the second. So we were able to save that extract and move it into the second brew. Now, of course, the last runnings of the second turn, we lost. We weren't able to collect those. So, able to jack up the second half of that brew that way. And hopping-wise, it was pretty much the same on the hot side as Union Jack. We did alter the recipe on the dry hopping side. We actually had to dry hop this beer 4 times to get to the finish line. It was the kind of situation where we dry hopped it the first time and just kind of used those hops as the fining agent to try to bring the hops down to the bottom, the yeast out of the brew down to the bottom. Typically, for us anyway, when we brew these really high alcohol, high gravity beers, the yeast isn't as flocculent. I think it's really hard on the yeast. So the first dry hop was just a fining agent. And then
Really?
the subsequent dry hops, the second, third, and then the fourth, basically we would dry hop it, wait a few days, taste it, not hoppy enough, dry hop it again, taste it, not hoppy enough, and it's a little counterintuitive, but these higher gravity, higher alcohol beers, in our experience, are more difficult to get the really explosive hop aroma out of. And, scientifically speaking, I can't really explain it. I don't know if the higher alcohol, the hop oils are obviously alcohol soluble.
Yeah.
So whether or not that retains in the liquid and it's harder for it to come to the aroma, or if there's just too much else competing with everything. So at the end of the day, it's a big beer, 10% alcohol, 100 IBUs, fairly well received tonight. So.
Yeah, people are loving it. I had to ask you because I was so surprised at how similar it was to the Union Jack. And I know a lot of people do these big brother, little brother beers,
right,
but they don't often taste the same. And I think it's unique. A lot of people go, well, how do we double the recipe in order to get a bigger beer? And you said, well, why don't we keep the same recipe,
right,
but do a bigger run-up?
Yeah. So I think that was key, and I also think that, be it a home brewer or a commercial brewery, a craft brewery, once you get your program dialed in, there's a house character that carries through all of your beers. And when we make hoppy beers, you taste some of the same characteristics in our pale ale, in the Nectar IPA, in the Union Jack, and now in the double IPA. So there's that house character that comes through too. And I think the longer you brew, the more you become one with your house character.
Yeah.
It becomes difficult almost to shake that off at times when you're trying to make something different. So, that's part of it.
Okay. All right, last question. We're out here on the streets, and the wind is blowing, and people are moving around, and buses are going by. Is anyone else going to see this beer? Is it just a tiny run for California? It's going to be bottled?
We wrapped probably 400 5-gallon kegs, so it's going to be here in the Bay Area for a while.
Okay.
Portland, Seattle, Phoenix, so some of the outlying regions will see it. San Diego will see it.
Okay.
And the Central Coast as well, so it'll be out there.
Great. All right, thanks, Matt. It's good to see you in the Bay.
Yeah, right. Thanks.